live. So it's saying that it's live, and I'm going to hit record so that it'll be on my computer just in case of anything. So I'll do the intro right now, and then we'll get right into you, George. You look fabulous. Fabulous, darling. Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome to Comic Spot, the place where we interview legends, sometimes babies in the comic field, but not today. Oh, no, you have a treat in store for you. In the other square, we have George Saltz. Say hi, George.
Hey, hello.
Hi. Let me say his introduction, and then we'll go right into it for you guys. George Saltz entered stand-up comedy at the ripe, tender age of 70 years. Within 7 years, he established he was featured in the New York Daily News. He won the funniest Jewish comedian contest at the age of 82 in New York. He's one of the best comics of the Mid-Hudson Valley, frequently headlines at Comic Strip Live, New York City. I love that club. He's performed at a majority of clubs all over the tri-state area. He's got a documentary that just came out and a Q&A scenario with the Tignataro. His documentary that he and his friend, longtime friend Natalie K. Levant, are both featured in, just won the Lower East Side Film Festival in its category. OMG. The name of the documentary, which will soon be re-released for you to watch, is called Still Standing. And here he is in person, the George Saltz. Woo! Hi, George.
Hey, Linda.
My buddy.
Yeah, just one correction.
Okay.
I believe you said I started comedy at the tender age of 7. Is that what you said?
70?
No, 80.
That's what I thought, but then I thought it said 70s. My bad.
Yeah, 80.
I knew that was wrong.
Actually, it was 79 and a half. You're
okay.
You're
I'll
in the
correct
ballpark.
that.
Okay. Yep. Okay.
79 and a half. Got it. Well, I'm so glad you're here. You're a resident of New York and have been forever and a day. Let's talk about a little bit of the current you in New York, and then let's go into you going into comedy till now. And then let's talk about the documentary and the Q&A coming out. So right now, what's going on with you in New York?
Well, right now, I'm not in New York. I'm in New Jersey in rehab. I was scheduled to do a big birthday show at the Comic Strip Live on July 15th. With loads of big headliners, Vanessa and
Hollingshead.
Yes, Hollingshead and Vince August and Eric Newman and just a wonderful bunch of comics. And on July 15th, and I was going to have Jackie Mason.
Oh my gosh.
And but on July 15th, the comic strip closed. We couldn't perform there because of the owners being in court, and they shut down the place. And also on that very same day, I went into emergency for I had a muscle spasm that was getting worse and worse and worse. And so I went into Mount Sinai West. And another reason that it didn't go well was Jackie Mason died. So at that time, or maybe a day after. So I did dialysis at Mount Sinai, and I was ready to leave, and they sent me to a place in Yonkers, and a rehab,
Yeah.
and I have two words for the place to my Jewish friends is gay nisht. Don't go there on a bet. It was just horrible. Everything. I could not eat one bit of food for about 4 days that I was there. It was just, and the place was run down. It just, it was given 1 star and it didn't deserve that. It was just horrible. So I finally, with the help of, my friend Karen, who's a comic, but a social worker at Valley Hospital. And she knows the best of the best. And the first question she asked me, what the hell are you doing there? And, it was recommended by the social worker there. So, but she arranged for me to be back in Westwood where I was before, and to just have rehab in this wonderful place, and it's called Care One, and it's in Westwood, New Jersey, and just across the other side of the road, practically, was the dialysis center and DaVita, and both places are gems, and I recommend it unreservedly. It's
That's
fantastic.
Care One.
Care One, yeah, please. Even if it's inconvenient to get there for you, if you can arrange it, it's different than any other place. They
What
have
city is that in, George?
Westwood, New Jersey.
Care One, Westwood, New Jersey. Okay, so now what I want to do with you is transition back in life, fill people in on the way you grew up appreciating comedy, how you got into it up till today. Would you please?
Yeah, I'd be delighted. I grew up, I was born in Brooklyn, but my earliest memory, we were at the Lower East Side, and we lived on Houston Street, and we had a store on Houston Street, and we lived 3 flights over the store. And if we were poor, I didn't know it. And that's been all my childhood. I never felt it. And we soon moved to Williamsburg.
Mhm.
When I
Brooklyn.
was about, yeah, and that's right. When I was about 7, I guess. And things were different, of course. Our rent for half a house with a backyard was $30 a month.
Wow.
But of course, wages were very low.
Yeah.
And in that area, Mel Brooks was about a block and a half away from me. I would see Alan King walk by, with his clothes, from the clothing place with a new suit. My brother would tell me these things. I didn't know who the hell they were at that age. And the Ritz brothers went to school at PS 19, I believe it is, which was the school for our district.
Wow.
And my brother knew of Mel Brooks and knew about his friends, and they all called him Crazy Melly, even at that time. And so, and then the next thing was my brother, Bill, who was I had two brothers. One was about 8 years older than me, and one was 10 years older than me. My father was 50 when I was born, and was a very good man, but never got involved with me. Was a good man. And so my two brothers were like my surrogate fathers, really.
Wow.
And my father, we had this little store, and he was a lot like Tevye. He would load up his, I guess it would be about the size of an SUV or a panel truck, a little bit larger, with paper items, which is what we sold. And he would go out, and like Tevye would come back after he sold all the milk,
Yes.
and
That's a Fiddler on the Roof
yeah,
reference.
yeah. And my father came back the same way. In other words, when he sold all the carton, so he would go into a place, a diner, and he'll say, "I have coffee containers. I'll let you have it for this price," and so on, or that. And meanwhile, he sat down and he schmoozed, and he had all kinds of blintzes and all kinds of goodies at the counter. And a few times I went with him, and I was in heaven, just eating the blintzes and the coffee and being with my father, and just it was wonderful.
Wow.
And my father had a sense of humor like Tevye also. And one of the stories I tell is, we were Orthodox. So at the end of Shabbos, as soon as Shabbos was over, my father would give me a nickel to buy the daily news, with the comics in it and everything. And I would, go outside, wait till the truck delivered it to a newsstand, and then I'd give the man the nickel, come home, read it. And it was just wonderful. It was wonderful. One day, the truck was late, and my father at that time had given me 5 pennies. So I went to while I was waiting for the bus, the newspaper to come in, there was one of these machines, that prints out things on little pieces of aluminum, like your postal, your mailing or
Yes.
it's aluminum, and you press it out. So I spent the 5 cents, not even pressing out my name, but 5 of my friends' names.
Wow.
Nissy Davis, Harold Newman, all that. And I came home, and my father said, "Where's the paper?" And I said, it hadn't come yet. I waited a half hour, it didn't come. And you told me to come home at that time. So he said, "Okay, where's my money?" I said, "I spent it." He said, "What did you get?" And I showed them these 5 things. And my older brothers were smiling already and looking at each other like, he's going to get it, Pop's going to let him have it. My father did not say a thing. He was waiting for, it's like Jack Benny's timing. And sure enough, not too long, 5 minutes at most, I complained, I had nothing to read. And so my father said, "Why don't you read the names on the plates?" And with that, my brothers laughed. It was worse than being slapped. I was so humiliated, and they laughed their heads off. But it shows something about my father too. It was just, and he did have that kind of humor, and he would say certain things like, "Hot your face and lose the ticket." Just just out of that, and he would And he would also sing, on Friday night, all the Jewish songs, and he just loved it. He didn't have a good voice, but the, the heart was there, and you could hear it.
Yes.
And anyway, uh, this was a family. My mother, I was her favorite. She was just an excellent mother. And what else could I say? But she was wonderful to all three of us. But I was her favorite. The only thing is, she was hoping for a girl,
Ah,
and she she had dresses there. There's a picture she dressed me up during Purim, and my nephew Mitchell got a hold of it recently, and he shows it to everybody, and just teases me about it. And even I put it in the act. What I say is, my mother named us all after royalty. George, William, and Charles. And when I was born, um, she, she had hoped for a girl, which explains why for the first year or so, she dressed me up as a lady and called me Elizabeth. And then I go on to say, my neighbor said, well, you're still young. Why don't you, have another child? And I would say, my mother was afraid. She had read that every fourth child was Chinese. And that's something I can't say now in these days, but I say it. But
yes.
anyway, then we moved to Williamsburg, as I said, and my first joke is when I went to the dentist,
Uh-huh.
and I was about 10, and well, first of all, I bit his finger the first time. I don't like dentists. I mean, they're dentistry. And a little bit after that, as I calmed down, he said, would you like to be a dentist when you grow up? And I said, no. And he'd say, why? And I said, I don't want to live from hand to mouth.
Wow.
And that was my first joke. And when I analyzed it, this is what I do with all my jokes. This is the secret to what I do. I had heard my mother talk about families and saying they lived from hand to mouth. And it sounded strange to me. So it remained, in my memory, and I didn't know. And then finally, I realized what it was. But anyway, that's what happened. And when it came there, and when there was a tooth thing, a dentist, I had it in my memory bank. I had it, I have it like a file, like my own file of these things. And I was able to do two of these. And this is the same with my junk joke, which is very effective.
Yes.
And because I was taking the comedy course, and at about 80, almost 80, and one of the comics, a female, was doing the whole thing about on the subway, and she kept hitting this guy in his junk, and I didn't know what it was. And then she told me. And so I made a whole thing about that with junk and that. And top level comics has said to me, I wish I could have thought of that, which is the ultimate compliment. And
Yes.
so, but apparently a lot of my comedy is that way, that I hear a strange kind of thought or whatever, and it gets filed, and then I can do it. And I also have the unbelievable, it amazes me. I can remember like almost every joke I ever heard.
Gee,
And like if somebody mentions something, it could be something I never thought of for 60 years or
wow.
70 years, and I could bring it up there. Not saying it that it was my joke, but I could, just say Groucho said this or that, or whatever it was. And it's just amazing. And a lot of the jokes I will tweak and put it in again. Like, for example, very few people around now remember Fred Allen
Yes.
on the radio, and he was one of my idols. He was brilliant, and he was a wordsmith. And this is what I sort of am too. Not sort of. This is what I am, and which is why I like all the like Letterman is a wordsmith,
Yes.
Groucho, and all that. And so he had a joke, and the joke was that whenever he thought of a joke, he would write it on his sleeve. And the next week, he saw his laundryman doing his act at the Lower East State. And I use that currently by saying, they always tell us to write things down. When you get a funny thought, write it right down. And I would say, I didn't have any paper. There was no newspaper, nothing to kind of paper to write it down. So I wrote it on my sleeve. And sure enough, I saw the laundryman doing my act at an open mic. But I added to it. I said, and he was pretty good. His delivery was good. His timing, he was pretty good, I have to say. But when they put the light on him, that he only had 1 minute left, he said, "Punchline not ready. Come back next week." So this part, I'd like to think that I made it better and added to it, and technically, when someone dies and and most of the audience doesn't remember his shtick, it's available. I forgot the term, but you
Right.
can use it. Yeah. So so anyway, I was very, very influenced by the radio, listening to Jack Benny and Fred Allen and Groucho Marx, just everybody, Bob Hope, and it made a tremendous influence on me. And then
You started comedy. I want to hear about it again. Tell me again.
what?
When you were young, you went into comedy.
Oh yeah. Oh well, I'm going to get up to that. No, just in a minute. Yeah, I'm going to discuss it now. And then I did a little bit of comedy in high school. And as a result, one of the guys in the band asked me if I wanted to be an MC in the Catskills. And I said yes. And so I went up to, I went. And even there, there's a little melodrama that went on because they were all going by bus on a Friday night. And I had a scene with, with my mother. And my mother, she said, "Do what you like, but I know what you want," and all of this. And I did go, but it was like the Jolson story, It was
Yes.
on a Friday night. The only difference is I got to the bus stop and I turned back. I couldn't do it. And I came
Yes.
back. And, but sure enough, they they made arrangements for me to come out during the week, and I went up again. So there was, no, no harm, no foul. And so then I was there, and I all summer I had rehearsed with um, a three-man band, and the leader was Harvey Avrutsky, and he played the accordion, um, not very well, but he played it. And we had a drummer and a saxophone player, and we became very tight friends. This was like from April till July, June, when we went up to the Catskills, or July. Um, and we were friends, we joked and everything. And Harvey Avrutsky
Uh-huh.
became our veto, and now he's back to being called Harv Avern, and he's won 4 golden records.
Gee.
And he produces. He's the head of Coco Music, and he's had Tito Puente. You name it, they've been on his record, including Tony Bennett and just everyone. He's like a god to the Latin American music, and he was written up in the Times. All of this, and I've contacted him, but he hasn't, responded, and probably doesn't remember any of it. But so anyway, we went up to the Catskills, and I'm always great with my friends. In other words, at every party, I would, kill, as they say. But when it was with new people, strangers, I had stage fright, and I just couldn't perform. I just lost it. So I got fired, and they paid for my bus fare back, and I said, someday I'll be back. Someday I will perform. I'll be paid. I'll be professional. And I kept my word. It was like 62 years later. I was 80, and just started to do it again. I took the comedy course, and they have what they call graduation night. In other words, what happens is you perform on the stage, and what's behind it, of course, is that whoever taught you, or the club, whatever, they stand to make a lot of money because you're asked to bring people. And of course, if you have some friends that are going to come to see you perform and all that.
Yeah.
And then they have to pay an admission fee and 2 drinks. And, so most people bring 5, 4. I brought 81 people. I brought mainly because I was afraid. Still, the whole course that we learned, Dave LaBarca taught us beautifully about comedy writing, just brilliant. And I owe so much of my success to him. Just how to cut out the unnecessary words and just the meat of it, not the fat, and just do that. And I do it automatically now, and just thanks to him. But I still wasn't sure. I mean, I liked the 5 minutes that I had written, but I hadn't tested it out. He did not test us until the last session, with the microphone and all that. And I remember him telling me to take the change out of my pockets, so they shouldn't jingle, little hints, but nothing beyond that.
Yeah.
And so I brought 81 people, and people I knew and so on.
One for each of your years.
Yeah, that's what I told him. He said, how do you get so many people? I said, each year, I said, I pick up one. So I think what I said was, one year I was sick, so I picked up two the next year, something like that. But anyway, I had 5 minutes. I went out. Uh, I I ad-libbed the joke about the person before me. She was a very hefty, I mean, bosomly individual, a speech and theater,
Wow.
a speech instructor that was also doing comedy. So I said, before I did my acting, and I said, I made an appointment to see the speech therapist. And I said, I have trouble moving my vowels. So, and, uh, and then, and then I, went into the act. And Dave had given me 8 minutes because of all the people I had. And with all the, I was doing a 5-minute act that I prepared for. I didn't say anything off that, sheet that I had, the cheat
Yeah.
sheet. And I didn't use a cheat sheet, but I mean, the sheet.
Yeah.
And it took 14 minutes because of the laughter and the applause.
Wow.
And I didn't know that, I was just moving. I didn't know anything about lights and everything. But just as I finished and all of that, Dave said, congratulated me, said you were on for 14 minutes, but it was worth it, all that.
Wow.
And when I looked at the film, I started to cry because I saw myself genuinely happy. And I hadn't been for like 10 or 11 years because I was taking care of my wife who had dementia. And I got real depressed. And I
Yes.
felt I would never do therapy. I'd never do comedy again.
Yes.
And so it was just a rebirth. I was just so delighted. And
Before, I'm
I'm sorry.
sorry to, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
Yep.
I would really be upset with myself if I didn't ask you to remind me and tell others about the little girl who brought you back from the
I was
dark
just about
side.
to do that. You didn't have to. I was just about to say it.
Okay.
Thank you. Anyway, while I was taking care of my wife, and I was for about 5 or 6 years, I was her main caretaker. And that means I washed her, I bathed her, I wiped her. We went to sleep at the same time, which was about 7 o'clock. I could watch a movie only if it had the subtitles. And I got very depressed. And I had no sense of funny anymore. And I said, that's it. I said, I'll never do it. I can never see myself being funny again. So one of the, after a while, I hired caregivers. It was more than I could do. So I hired caregivers to take care of me. And one of them one day said she couldn't get a babysitter for her 7-year-old. Would you mind if she came there? She's no trouble. I said, sure. I said, we have 5 bedrooms, she can stay out of trouble. Anyway, in quick time, she and I were just joking, riddles and everything. I just got so, I mean, she really made such a difference. And also she would come, I would take my wife for lunch every day to a nice restaurant, instead of taking her to the daycare and all of that. And she enjoyed herself. She enjoyed eating there. She enjoyed seeing the people there. And I was able to mix with people there that I'm still friendly with to this day. And this little girl came with us, and she was just like sunshine. She would go into the bathroom and evaluate the bathroom, like a grown-up. She would say, well, this bathroom has artificial flowers, but it has classical music, and she'd give it a rating and all of this. And she got more and more endearing and funny and all of this. And eventually, thanks to her, I got my comedy back, and it was growing. It was getting there, but it was all because of her. And well, my battery is going to go off in 15 seconds, so I better get up and charge it. But I'll be able to charge it and still talk. So, but,
Okay.
yeah, but anyway, let me get off now and for a second, and I'll be right back.
Okay.
Linda, you talk.
Okay. So George went from being in comedy as a young person to not doing comedy and being a married man and having a long, long relationship with his wife. And then he re-enters comedy like he promised back in the day. After high school, he promised he'd be back one day and be a working comedian. And he made good on that promise at age 79 and a half. And he takes a class, like he said, and he brought 81 people to the graduation show, and he was given extra minutes based on all the people he brought. He's been killing ever since. And like I said at the beginning with his introduction, he's been named as the funniest Jewish comedian at age 82, one of the best comics of the Mid-Hudson Valley, headlining at Comic Strip Live, and performed at the majority of clubs in this tri-state area and featured in the New York Daily News. So you talk about encouragement at any age. I mean, let's see somebody at age 18 do this, let alone at age 79 and a half to now. Back to you,
Okay.
George.
I can't find it, but I just buzzed for someone to help me. They'll be in a minute.
Okay.
So, yeah, no, but I can talk until they come.
All
No,
righty.
yeah, until the 15th, whatever it is, goes out. Yeah. So
just in case we go out, could you talk about the documentary and the Q&A at
oh
this
no,
point?
even if we go out, somebody's going to come in and they're going to put in my charger, so
Okay.
I'll be able to continue. So I'm just going to talk until it stops, and then I'll put it in the charger, and we could talk again.
Okay.
So I lost my sense of humor with her, and then and it came back slowly but surely. And then a friend of mine, you know him, Linda.
Yes.
Bob Marshall.
Yes.
I used to do his anniversary shows. This is before I was in the comedy. Hello. Hi. Can you find my charger?
Oh.
Let's see. Is it back there? Black.
I see. Let me hold
Okay.
this.
Okay. Good. Okay. Oh. Thanks. It's plugged in. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. You're on Zoom now. You want to say hello?
All of the internet, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, I'm on. I still got 14%, but it's okay now.
Good.
So, where was I? Let's see. Oh yeah. So, so Bob Marshall, this is a psychology friend of mine, who's a very prominent psychologist. He was my my superior, whatever, when I worked at the VA. I was a clinical psychologist, by the way. And Bob was one of the dear friends that I made there. And he had a place in the Hamptons, and he had a beautiful home in Croton with swimming pool and everything. And for his anniversary, we would always have live music, and I would always MC. And I did it for his, let's see, his 25th anniversary. his 30th, his 40th, his 50th, and he was calling to do his 60th.
Wow.
And I had, as I say, I had already come out of my funk.
Yes.
And so I was ready, but I hadn't done comedy or anything.
Excuse me a second, George. Can you back away from the camera about a foot? There you go. Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
And,
Okay.
And my caregivers
Uh-huh.
said, you're going to go there. And they volunteered to stay open over the weekend and all of this.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know if it was for my good or to get me out of their hair, but they pushed me out. So I went out there, and there were 90 people. This one in the Hamptons at his son-in-law's place. They all were very, very big time. The son-in-law, his father was the one that wrote about wines in the New York Times.
He wrote about what?
Wines, W-I-N.
Okay.
I don't mean W-H-I-N-E. Anyway, and there were 90 people there, and I did a few minutes, and it was very well received. And I had mentioned there, I wish I knew it was going to go like this. I would have had more. Yeah. Anyway, so I came back.
You have to hit the button. I can't hear you.
Next week, my friend Guy had his 50th anniversary, and he was and is a dear friend of mine. He was my student at the VA. He was my trainee, but we became very good friends, and just lovely, lovely relationship. He and his wife and kids and everything. So he was having a 50th anniversary. So I went out to his, but I wasn't going to do any comedy. I was just going out there, And I mentioned to his daughter's partner about that, and she had done stage work and all of that, and she said, "You're going to do a few minutes there," and so I did, and it was even better received than there. It was even better. So I was primed. So when I got home, I looked up comedy clubs and all that, and that's how I took the class with Dave LaBarca. So it ran its, once you're ready, you can get there again. And and that's where we go there. Okay.
That's wonderful. Now we want to talk about the present scenario. I'm here on the upper west side of the US map, hearing about my coach, my ex-landlord, George Saltz, and the amazing Natalie Levant, related to Oscar Levant, are both in a movie that wins a festival. And it's a documentary featuring your lives. And can you please tell me what is going on the East Coast, George?
Yeah. At one of the open mics that I did at the Metropolitan Room, Teresa DiGiorno was the host, and as I did it, this young woman also did some stand-up, and that was Elizabeth McDonough. I forgot what her name was. Elizabeth Z. McDonough. I can't really pronounce it, but anyway.
Okay.
She said she's starting to do a video, a documentary about comics, starting comics, and what got them into comedy. And I said, sure. And as we met, and she started to see me more and more, she forgot about everyone else. You know, she had a story there. And for my 84th birthday, how old was I? In other words, I started at 80. So that was like about 4 years that I was doing open mics.
Yes.
And she would come to my house, and they would, you know, they did it like you were doing the real movie. I had to change my shirt to get one that reflected the light better, everything like that. And she had all these cameras, and we, she followed me, you know, in Ardsley down the streets, and
Wow.
you know, my saying hello to people and all that. And then for my 84th birthday, I was doing a show at the comic strip. And meanwhile, I had met Gladys at the comic strip uh, during the first open mic. The first time I spoke to her on the phone, and we clicked. And so I came on the open mic, and she let me every year, God bless her, on my birthday, she would get a show with professional comics, myself. I could choose who I wanted, and we had Jim Gaffigan, we had just a lot of top comics, uh, you know, at some point.
Yeah.
And so the 81st birthday was the first one of those. And and we would also split the ticket money, which is the way comics make more money than if they're just paid, you know, a flat fee.
Yes.
And so anyway, it went very well, first one. And then, you know, I kept on every year, 82, 83. And for my 84th, Jackie Mason was supposed to come. And I got a call from him, from his wife, who was his agent. And she said, Jackie will be there at 9 o'clock if you can be on at 9. And don't order a table for us. We'll be watching you in the back. We'll come with one friend, one other person. And but at that time I was going through I had rheumatic fever as a kid. And as a result of that, it came to bite me in the ass years later. And my breathing was terrible. And I needed a mitral valve replacement. Now, they do have a shorter, I had to take the open heart surgery. There's a minimally invasive surgery, but I wasn't eligible for it because patients who had the rheumatic fever, it wouldn't work. If I did it that way, I'd have to go back and back again, back again. So I had to have the open heart surgery, and I got I it didn't go well. I got into trouble. My blood pressure went very low, and they had to have a special machine, you know, to restore me. And anyway, it was, and I mean, they did, and I took physical therapy, and in 5 months later, I was back on the stage, and I was at 76 hours. So, as a result of that, I had kidney damage, which I didn't have before. And so I had to go for dialysis. And, and at that time, I think it was walking with a cane. But um, now until now I'm walking with the cane again, but I'll be off it soon. And, but I did shows, and people helped me up the steps to the stage, but I was able to do it. And I was doing it and just picking up all the, you know, the awards and everything like Linda told you. And we were ready to do the July 15th is my birthday. And we were going to have my 87th celebration. And we had very big comics, including Jackie Mason.
Yes.
But the comedy, the comic strip closed because the owners were in a legal battle.
Yes.
So it closed on July 15th. I was in no shape to perform at that time because I went to emergency because of my muscle spasms, and Jackie Mason died. So anyway, so I went in, and then I'm in a different rehab now, which is excellent. And I hope to be here about another week, and I'll be back. And look for us again at the comic strip.
Yes,
to
and
celebrate.
please explain going and meeting these two ladies and being in this documentary and what's coming up with the documentary, please.
Okay, which two ladies?
You went and you met a couple ladies and you wound up being in a documentary.
Okay, let me see. Well, I knew Natalie because she had come to open mics.
Yes.
So I invited her to my 84th birthday. So while I was, I mean, I performed, but I had to sit down,
Yes.
but I performed. And as I got off, and I got tremendous ovation,
Yes.
Natalie went on and she destroyed. She was just out of this world. And then, understandably, Elizabeth wanted her in the documentary as well. So that's how both of us got into the documentary. And so she was filming her. She was going out to Philadelphia, filming her. She was filming me. And then, and she wouldn't tell us the name of she didn't tell us anything about the documentary at all. And then we filed it first to Tribeca, and they only took 1% of the people. They didn't take us. And then she filed it with the Lower East Side Festival, and that they chose us. And we also had a Q&A after the film, and that was with the very well-known, high-powered lady comic, Tig
Notaro.
Notaro, and her Q&A was just off the wall. It was supposed to be 20 minutes. We did it 50 minutes, and people left laughing and crying, and it was just, it could really go higher. And this is what we're hoping now. We're trying to get it to a larger audience and a larger audience. And it could even go, technically it could go to the Academy Awards. And
Wow.
it's a long shot, but it's everything about my life was a long shot. Who'd have thunk it?
Yes.
So, we try and do our best and see. So, and people will soon be able to watch it. It was available while the week was, the festival week was on.
Yes.
It ended on the 18th. So now you can't get it available unless somebody has it and they show it to you. But it'll be available again. I don't know in what form, but Elizabeth will announce it.
Okay.
And, yeah. Oh,
So there's going to be an upcoming re-release of the documentary, and they'll be also able to see the Tig Notaro Q&A.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I hope so. Yeah, I'm sure it will be. Yeah.
And so if people are interested, you can contact me on Facebook or George Saltz or Natalie Levant to see if they have an update on when that's coming out.
Yeah.
And when you hear something, please let me know so that I can let everybody know as well.
Absolutely.
Anything else you want to say before we sign off in 5 minutes?
I'm trying to think. Did I leave that? No, I can't think of anything. I think it's done, and you know, hopefully, you know, things will go as planned, and it's things are working out well, and
Yes.
and you know, my I'm not really in before the muscle spasm. It would be shooting out pain, and I would be screaming, like yelling, and people would come in, you know, they could hear me. You know, even though I didn't beat them, they could hear me through these thick walls. And now it's like a little dull pain, much less. It's annoying, and I don't like it. It's, you know, it's very annoying, but it's not the same thing as before. And I have good reason to hope it'll be a week. And the places I'm mentioning, if anyone knows of anyone that needs rehabilitation, you know, after being sent to the hospital, um, this is, for me, it's the best.
Yeah.
And they have more attendance here. I pressed the button, and you saw how quick somebody came in.
It was lickety split. You pushed the button, they were there.
And that was the nurse. And if not, then the aides will come. And it's just, it's really like you see in the movies and in the old days, you know, with wealthy people. And so it's and it's called Care One.
Care One. What
And it's
city?
Westwood, New Jersey.
Thank you.
So you know, even if you're in New York or whatever, you can request those things. But certainly, if you're in Westchester or in New Jersey, definitely.
Yes.
And it's really, and then if you need dialysis, it's just almost directly across the road.
Wow.
And one's on 363 Old Hook Road, and the other's on 300 Old Hook Road. And of course, I made a joke about you see a lot of old hookers here, but that's it's not nice. Biting the hand that feeds you, it's not nice. But anyway, and that is a 5-star dialysis, and it does make a difference because I stayed at a 1-star rehab, and it didn't even deserve that 1 star.
Oh my.
And it was horrible. It was just, it was like in Charles Dickens times or something. It was just, I couldn't eat the food. I wouldn't say, please, sir, could I have more? I would say, can I have less? It was just horrible. And they really shouldn't be functioning. They're just so bad. But anyway.
I want to tell you, George, from the bottom of my heart, I know that you don't like schmaltzy comedy. You like very well written comedy, but off stage, you're getting your props.
I'm getting my what?
Your props off stage. You're getting your just desserts. You're getting
Oh.
exactly what you deserve, your props.
My props,
Yeah.
PROPS.
You just
I
don't
didn't know
want
that.
props on stage. You want them off stage, and you're getting them.
Oh, yeah, yeah, and, oh, yeah, I could say one thing more, if you still, yeah.
Yes.
I took care of my wife. She had dementia for about 12 years. And I took care of her but I think I mentioned this by myself, the first 10 years, the first 5 years, I was a primary giver. And during that time, when I lost my sense of humor and that little girl bailed me out, oh, did I mention that little girl is going to be
Yes.
at the program? Yeah. And I was very angry. Even then, I have so many more now, but I had such a large network of friends. And, when we had parties, we would have 60 people and live music, and everybody was just, and yet, as Maury got the dementia, the phone stopped ringing. If I would call them, I could tell they were so uncomfortable talking to me, which is why they didn't call me. And they were, you could hear them washing the dishes and talking to me, anxious to get off the phone and all that. And so I really only had several real close friends, one of them being my friend Dorothy. But we'll talk about her some other time.
Okay.
And my feeling was, I said to myself, damn it, there's nobody here. I said, but if I die, they're all going to come to the funeral and say, what a great guy I was. They all love me. They're going to say that. And it reminded me of a poem I read in high school by Abigail Smith. It's called If I Should Die Tonight.
Wow.
And it says it so beautifully, if I should die tonight. And then it says all the things that they will say to a piece of stone, saying how wonderful, I am, and all of this. And then after a few lines of that, she says, oh world, help me on my journey now. Now is when I need it. And it meant so much to me. And it's what I try to do now. In other words, if you care for somebody or if you love them, tell them now. Not to a group of some strangers and to a piece of stone. It's not the same thing. Tell them now. And fortunately for me, I am hearing that love now, and I'm feeling that love from so many people. And I would still like to hear what they say at my funeral, but I won't be able to. But no, but I'm just I just can't tell you. I just feel the love from hundreds and hundreds of people who I know and who love me, and I love them. And we're talking on a different level when we speak. And it's just such a quality of life I have now that, it's just wonderful. Most people, when they're tired, so they're ready to go, but I don't. I would like to, as long as I'm not in pain. I cannot take pain. But they've, with today's hospitals and so on, within limits, they can do that. And that I can tolerate because I want to get back. And if I can't get up to the stage anymore, I'll write. I'll do, some writing and keep on coaching students.
Yes.
And the thing is, I want to go.
I'm so happy for your successes. I'm so glad that the little girl brought you back into comedy, because you have blessed so many people with such powerful comedy.
tell you, yeah, really, it just, and the funny thing is, as a kid, I didn't think I was smart because by the regular standards, I wasn't in, my diagnosis was an ADD, I was always dreaming and I just wanted to know the bottom line.
Yes,
And all of this. But then as I got into comedy, I could see that, I was on the upper scale of brightness and clever and all of that, that other people didn't have the kind of gift of creating things quickly and creating comedy like I did, which is a form of intelligence. And
yes,
so it's I'm just a happy man.
absolutely. I'm gonna let you go, but I know Natalie Levant wrote me and she wants to come back on with you and her real soon. So we'll come up with a time to come back where
Okay.
all three of us can be together. She didn't want to miss this at all.
Yeah, I'll probably forget this one with my memory, so we'll do it again.
People need to hear it over and over and over.
I
I
know.
know I like hearing it. It's like the best thing in my day. Thank you so much, George Saltz.
Okay, and thank you, dear. Really,
Thank you.
thank you so
I
much.
love you lots. Bye.
Me too. Bye-bye.